So welcome back to Matfield Pond Part 2. We're at the end now. We're going to go through all the questions you had on the reeds, the banks from the last video. Also a bit of the history. I know there's some comments on, the World War II vehicles coming in, maybe a fire station. So I'm going to go through that as well. And then to finish it, we can see how we started and how we finish now. So yeah, I'm looking forward to showing you all the way through. So let's talk about Matfield House. So this house was built in 1728 for Thomas Marchant and his wife Mary. But also in Matfield we had a famous poet here called Siegfried Sassoon, and that refers to the Poet Pub because she was a famous poet. Now, if you're like me, remember back, it was the Standings Cross, used to go in there a lot, play darts, have a beer. That was the Standing Cross name for about 150 years, which was John Standing. He then moved out to a bakery, and then 2017 it was changed to the Poet in honour of Siegfried Sassoon. So just so you know, that's a little bit of history there. On this slope, about the World War side, and this being for lorries, vehicles, I haven't had any historians or anyone reach out to me or give me anything different, but I can see there is a fire station sign on the building over there, and it made me wonder whether that fire station was for the house or for the village, and they used the water from the pond to fill up the fire engines. But I don't know, someone else out there will know a lot more than me. But yeah, it would be good to have some updates on that and anything that you know yourselves. Just go into the history of the pond. You used to get a day ticket from a shop up here, and then you could fish the pond. Then it went to just the children of Matfield and Brentstree, so you had to be a resident to fish it. That's probably, I assume, how it would stay, but we know from the Parish Council meeting. But it would be great for the children to be able to come here, catch their first fish, and yeah, it'd be nice for everyone to see that as well. And fishing, before COVID was in very much decline. Rod licences were down 600,000. Then when we had COVID, fishing then went up and surpassed where it was, and it's still climbing today. And it's just great for kids to be able to be outside, maybe them being on laptops or phones inside. They can get out and enjoy fishing and the outside. So yeah, I thought I'd just clarify this sign and the history. Right, so let's go through the reeds and forming the banks and how we done that. But firstly, with the reeds, we went for a Carex reed on the island, and this is because one, it binds the bank very well, it'll stay green all year round, and it'll protect the ducks and that on the island. So I was really happy with that. So that is all the way round. The far dam wall, I actually put some iris there because we had some overage of reeds, and I thought, right, we're going to put yellow iris along the wall just to bind that bank a bit more, because obviously we've got to stop the leaks, which I think we've done a really good job actually. I've been thinking about that. The water coming in hasn't been as much as I thought, and that's just because in the past when you had all the holes in the wall, the water was coming in more but obviously was going out more. So I'm quite pleased with that. This is nowhere near finished level. There is a white line. If you come and walk round, you'll see there's a white line, and that is the actual water level when it's full. Coming along here, we put in a lot of burr reed. So burr reed is just a really nice reed, it's quite pretty, but again, it's for forming banks. And if you see along here, we've had a huge amount of silt come out. Now, the silt was about 120 tonne. So if that gives you an example of how much we've moved and formed. And to tell the truth, I think it looks great, even though it looks like mud at the moment. But there is the grass seed taking. It's not going to take long. I reckon a couple of weeks' time, this is going to look green and look so different. We go across to the far bank, and I was interested in that because I wanted to have it more as a bit of a wildlife sort of area. We put some poppies, wildflower seed in that bank, and also the pontedera we put in. There was a reason for that, is that pontedera is a bit more of a purpley blue flower. It looks very pretty. There's not much water around there, so I wanted that edge to still look nice in the summer. From the pontedera we then come into the yellow iris along that far wall, and the reason I done that was because in the spring, 19th of November this year, there's a work party, they clear it all those daffodils, that area will look fantastic, and it needed some yellow iris there, so that's why I done that. Going to questions, we had some questions about lilies. Are they poisonous to animals? not really in water, but obviously if your dog did go in there, you wouldn't want them eating a lily, stuff like that, especially a flower. But I wouldn't see that. I haven't seen any dogs go in, so from a point of view of lilies, I can't see that being a problem. Also, the pond always had lilies. It's always had lilies, but the ones we planted were yellow and white. Now, the reason we went with a few more yellow is simply because they're not as aggressive in growing and spreading out, but the whites are. But I really wanted 2 colours, so we may have to do a little bit on the whites if they become too much, but that's not overly a problem. We also used a brick system to hold them down. I'll bring up some images of that for you, but that's the way we put them in. So we push them in the silt, we cable tie them to like an engineering brick, and that means they stay there, because as you get wildlife, birds and that will pull them up, so that won't happen now. And in the other lakes we've got, it's worked exceptionally well. The other thing was Pontedera. We had a question about Pontedera being quite an aggressive plant. We're not in South America, and I don't think Matfield's tropical. I wouldn't worry too much. I've got them in all my other lakes. They're a very good boundary edge. Obviously in hotter climates they could spread out a lot, but that's not going to happen here. Other questions were, are these banks going to wash away? No. Simple as that, really. This bank is now connected down to these reeds. It won't wash away. The island side, we could have put more reeds there, but we spent a lot on these. Well, we donated a lot of money for these reeds, many thousands of pounds, and we just couldn't quite have enough to go all the way round there. I'm not too worried because I want it to look quite natural, that island, and I think that'll be fine. But with regards to it all washing away, no, it's not going to happen. It's going to look fantastic. So that gives you an idea of all the reeds, where we are now. What I want to do is I want to just move further around, give you a different angle, and we look at the second island. So just before we get round to the second island, we're actually putting some drainage here, because I noticed, especially in the winters, this holds quite a lot of water. So there's some drainage coming back into the pond. Also, we banked into the wall because I think the water was actually seeping out round the back of the wall, so that's now fixed. This seat, I think we need a bit of stone here. So there is this work party, and I'm going to put some stone here, just so if you are sitting here, it's just a bit nicer. I think it's a bit muddy. Right, let's have a walk round and have a look at this island. So as we pan round, you see the ducks are back, which is great. How many are there? 6. So as you come round, you see that the island we've butted up against, there's a lot more water in here, but you'll see on the second island there's a white line. That is your level. So you've got about 4 foot here, which is a really nice depth, maybe a bit more over to the right. You'll see the lilies that we've held down with the bricks, the engineering bricks, and then as you come round to the right, we've actually piled this up. This is all the bulrush from before, but if you imagine, these lilies and reeds were right out here. So now we've pushed that back, and it just looks so much bigger than it did. But what the plan is, let that dry out, we get our small machine and we just grade that off a bit, so from the butchers in that area you have a really nice view of the pond. And then it's for your own vision to try and see, I'll bring up a drawing that I've done of the lilies, but you'll get your own idea of how these lilies are going to look in the spring. I think it's going to look absolutely stunning with all the whites and yellows in here, and then all the other work that we've done. The yellow iris in here, this is going to bind this bank a lot more. And then, yeah, we'll get through to the spring. Now, just on this work party, I'll put up some details of it on the screen. 19th of November. Unfortunately, I can't make it myself, but I've been working with Anne on the works that she'd like to do and the help needed, going forward. There's also the Parish Council meeting on the 6th of November to go through reinstating fish, these type of things. Whether that's going to happen, I think it will. And if that does, then I think that we'd have the fish ready almost like the next day. And we'd put them in, because we need fish in here, otherwise it's going to be so much weed. I know we spoke on the previous video about dye, but you need fish in here, otherwise this pond would just be absolutely caked in weed. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think that the next video I do on this would be around it being green, reeds coming up, spring, maybe do one before the spring, but I think it just gives you an idea of the amount of effort that goes into maintaining a pond, making it nice. We have got now, this is good for 10-15 years minimum. with the annual plan we're looking at with the chalk and different items, it will allow the silt not to take hold. So when we put the chalk in, it creates like an organic life in the silt that then eats the silt, and then that takes it down. But I'll put some details on that there. But yeah, I'm exceptionally happy. I think it's gone really, really well. I hope you've enjoyed watching it come together. Hope I've answered all your questions that you had, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.